Chat. Hi everyone. Here is an update. Since the Israel-Palestine war started on October 7th of last year, there's a lot has changed on the ground. Of course, the war didn't really start on October 7th. It's been going on pretty much since the end of the British Mandate of Palestine, or Philistinia, the name given by the Romans. Um, and yeah, pretty much after World War II, Britain lost all of their territories because they went into debt. Everyone went into debt, and Britain basically had to liquidate all their assets, including India, Palestine, et cetera, et cetera. And in the process, what would become the Likud party bombed the crap out of Britain to get them out of Israel. So using terrorist tactics. And now, today is February 5th, and Trump met with Bibi Netanyahu yesterday and resurrected an old doctrine uh, that Biden was suggesting a few months ago, that Egypt and Jordan should take all of the Palestinians out of Gaza, out of the Gaza Strip, and that they're just going to level Gaza and make it into a nice resort or whatever. Uh, Now, this is so terrible in so many ways. There's many reasons why Egypt and Jordan don't want to take any more refugees than they already have. But yeah, just to be clear, if this is not an okay plan. That's ethnic cleansing is not a peace solution. But, this is the same exact rationale that was used to expel the Native Americans from the Trail of Tears, because we don't want to live next door to these people who hate us and want to hurt us, and it seems like instead of resolving our differences and trying to get along, we're just going to expel them to somewhere else. And, fast forward however many hundreds of years later, and now a lot of these Native peoples have reservations, is kind of a form of reparations, and they get to make their own laws on these reservations. And let's just, make the case now that, like, oh, every single people and ethnic group has a right to life and a right to their heritage and a right to their language. And so we can just fast forward. Let's just assume, hey, we need a reservation for all these displaced people from this conflict. Oh, there's a place called Gaza that we can put the Gazans. We don't have to send them to Egypt or Jordan. But this is just wrong in so many ways, because, well, on one hand, it does. I'm like most people. Americans are upset because they don't want to pay for the rebuilding of Gaza, even though they paid for the destruction of Gaza, which to me is kind of a double standard. And, to me, there needs to be an intercessory group other than Israel to watch over Gaza for its rebuilding. And, Israel wants to blow up Gaza, but they don't want to be its police force. They don't want to take the responsibility for rebuilding Gaza and for policing Gaza. But if we have USA troops in Gaza to oversee the peacekeeping during the rebuilding, that makes our soldiers targets, not just for Hamas, but for Israel. Because Israel has proven in the past with the USS Liberty and other situations that, they don't care. Not only do they not care about Palestinian life, they don't care about Israeli life. They don't care about American life because they have the Hannibal doctrine, which means, that the ends justify the means. So they're willing to kill their own people, so Americans should not feel safe anywhere near Israel, because they're run by a terrorist organization. The Likud Party is a terrorist organization, and they always have been since their inception, with David Ben-Gurion and blowing up hotels to get the British out. They're no better than Hamas. And in my view, Bibi has been funding Hamas through the back door this whole time. So when he says that he wants to get Hamas out of Gaza, it's an absolute lie. That they need an opposition group that's not a partner to peace to achieve their territorial ambitions. And if Jordan and Egypt take the refugees, and then the refugees continue to bomb Israel from Egypt and Jordan, then that gives Israel justification to also annex those parts of Jordan and Egypt. And to me, this is worrisome because the territorial ambitions of Israel it's a dangerous precedent, because it's like, oh, I wrote in this book that all your land belongs to me because I said so. I guess that's like manifest destiny. And it's insane that we have to deal with these colonial attitudes in the 21st century. Like, we can't be apologizing for ethnic cleansing hundreds of years ago while continuing ethnic cleansing in the modern day. It's just hypocrisy. People might think of me to be naive for saying this, but Palestinians, a lot of them used to be Jewish, and then the Christians would take over, and a lot of them converted to Christianity, and then Islam took over, and a lot of them converted to Islam. And a lot of those, there are various tactics used to pressure conversion. This isn't entirely a natural inspired process, but there's cultural significant sites in Israel for Christians, Jews, and Muslims, and they all should have equal rights and equal access. Palestinian Christians, Palestinian Muslims, Palestinian Jews, Palestinian Israelis, they should all, be fair and share the land. There shouldn't be an apartheid state. There shouldn't. It's not a way to live. It's not a way to exist, and it's not all on Israel. It's not all Israel's fault. Part of this is everybody's attitudes just need to adjust. Like, this is the 21st century. Who cares what your book said? Who cares? Like, my book says that I get Saudi Arabia, I get Egypt, I get Lebanon. Who cares what your book says? If your book, says that we all need to be miserable because somehow us blowing up the world is going to bring Christ, and then we'll all be in some other better world that we can't see now. No, I think we live for this life and for this world. So to, the sowers of the apocalypse, I'm just going to have to push back, because like, you're saying that there's some magical world after death that we're going to go to after we blow up this world. But but I mean, I think that we should work to make life in this life better and not rely on your book's territorial claims, and that includes the Bible and the Quran, um and I really hope that Trump doesn't go through with this. This is not. It's a bad idea all around. It would be a stain on his presidency, on his legacy. To Yes, Biden did the war and killed a lot of people, but then to say, oh, it's justified, and now Egypt has to take uh, the refugees. It's justifying the actions of the land grab, and we can't let the land grab be legitimized because uh, I mean, it's the 21st century. Okay, yes, the all of human history is colonialism, and we can't say, all right, now that's enough colonialism. Just freeze all the border lines, and now just be happy with where you're at and who your neighbors are. And now there'll be no more colonial ambitions from anyone for the rest of ever, because now we're like in an enlightened period to where we don't need to take anything from anyone anymore. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a naive ambition to assume that peace would happen and that, but I mean, we don't need to be funding the destruction. If humans are always going to be humaning, right? And wanting what somebody else has and wanting peace and security. And, but I don't want to be a party to it. I don't want it to reflect on me as an American. I don't want to be paying for ethnic cleansing. And I didn't want to be paying for the destruction of Gaza in the first place, but I also don't want to be paying for refugees to get shipped to Egypt or Jordan or Europe, or all the problems that causes, from these refugee crises. And yeah, like Israelis and Palestinians, they just need to get along. And it's like, well, they want to kill me. They want to kill me. It's because my book told me so. My grandpa told me so. Who cares? It's not in your mother's milk. There's nothing in like the Jewish or the Muslim DNA that makes you want to kill each other. It's all passed down programming, and you got to transcend your books, transcend what your book tells you, or what your great great grandpa told you who you need to fear or who you need to go after, because none of that is real. None of that is borderlines. I mean, nothing in this world is real except what you carry in your heart, the memories in your heart. And you can choose at any moment to change that path. And so you don't have to accept the hate taught to you and programmed to you. And that goes both ways. And so I don't see ethnic cleansing as a peace plan. The Palestinians shouldn't have to leave their land, and neither should the Israelis. Nobody should have to be mass expelled. Nobody should be ethnic cleansed. Because this is the 21st century, and we shouldn't have to deal with this anymore. And it's naive for me to say that from my position, because I don't live there, so I don't incur the same the same risks that people who live there do. But yeah, that's it. I'm done. Okay. Hopefully hopefully Egypt won't buckle and Jordan won't buckle, and they won't. Egypt has already taken over 100,000 refugees. They don't need the 1.5 million left from Gaza. Gaza should not be swept out of all the Palestinians. It should not be a European proxy. We shouldn't have Israel completely 100% taken over by Europeans, because it's not Europe. It's not, I mean, it's kind of Mediterranean, I guess, the Levant, but it's the Levant, or the Holy Land. It's a story, a tapestry that weaves a lot of different peoples into it, and no one group should be in charge of it. But at the same time, it is Americans' responsibility, since the end of the British Mandate, because we pay for it. We pay for Israel. We pay for Gaza. They need to do what we say. We don't need to take their territorial ambitions. And ethnic cleansing is not a valid peace plan. And yeah.